Who wants credit? Luke, this is a bad idea and you should feel bad. How am I even supposed to ignite these things underwater? What am I supposed to do? Just tape a spark plug to the end of an extension cord and dangle it in the water?
Space tape.
Is this thing even on? No, of course you can't just tape a spark plug to the end of an extension cord and stick it in the water. Why would you even think of something that dumb? But I do have to admit, that was pretty epic. So maybe this idea is worth trying. I mean, how hard can it be? Dolphins can make vortex rings, Physics Girl can make vortex rings, Smarter Every Day can make vortex rings. So if I want to ascend to become a real science YouTuber, I too need to make vortex rings. Now you can imagine a vortex ring like a donut that keeps turning in on itself as it moves through the air. They're easy to make in the air using toys like the Airzuka, so I made this bubble ring prototype that uses the same principle of shooting air down a tube. Here is our bubble ring prototype. It's basically just a sprinkler valve, a pressure chamber, and a brick. And we're gonna pressurize everything with this OSHA violation right here. This is a propane tank, but I refill it with air. Keep it away from me. So the plan is to pressurize this with air and then quickly trigger the sprinkler valve by tapping the wires on the battery. Hopefully, the sudden impulse of air will give us a nice bubble ring. All right, so I'm gonna fill this up with air. Okay, well, right away there's a problem. All right, Sandra, hit it. I felt that.
Right? That was deep.
So, this thing could make some pretty cool noises, but one problem. It could not make a bubble ring. Alright, that was definitely not making any bubble rings. This might be harder than I thought. And you know what? I can't blame Luke for everything. So Chazboy, this is all your fault. Why would you think this is a good idea? So here's what I'm thinking. I have no idea how to make a machine that can blow bubbles underwater, but I know how to blow bubbles underwater. So I'm gonna blow some bubble rings, record it, analyze it, and then build a machine that does the same thing. The first thing I noticed is that you have to open and close your mouth really fast to get a perfect bubble ring. If you keep your mouth open too long, like right here, you'll add too much air to the bubble ring and it'll fall apart before it gets to the surface. But if you open and close your mouth at just the right time and you let out just the right amount of air, it'll create a perfect bubble ring that goes all the way up to the surface nice and smoothly. So now I know what I need. I need some kind of poppet valve that goes down and up really quickly to let out a short burst of air, but I don't really know how to do it. I was trying to figure out how I can pull the valve down to release the air, and I was thinking about it for a while, and I came up with the solution. I don't need to figure it out. Somebody online has probably already figured all this out, and I'm wasting my time. So I was looking through patents online, and I found this device which claims to be a bubble ring generator, but really it just looks like some kind of psychedelic album art cover from the 80s. Okay, now this is kind of interesting. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's pretty cool. It looks like it's a device for making small bubble rings in a fish tank. So I made a 3D model, sent it to the 3D printer, and it's only gonna take 8 hours! Well, don't worry, that's a perfect amount of time to tell you all about KiwiCo. KiwiCo creates super cool hands-on projects designed to expose kids to the concepts in STEAM. Each monthly crate is designed by experts, tested by kids, and teaches a new theme through hands-on learning and fun. Each crate also contains an educational magazine containing lots of additional content to take your learning and your project to the next level.
Oh, the penguin's cute!
There's 8 different subscription lines, and they each cater to different ages and interests. Each box comes with all the supplies needed for that month. School looks different this year. KiwiCo projects are a great hands-on activity to balance the overload of screen time from online classes. My mom's a teacher. She's been telling me how hard it is for these kids to stay engaged for 8 hours a day staring at their screen. KiwiCo is a great supplemental tool for learning and really for fun because that's what schools seem to be missing nowadays. Show your support for my channel by taking advantage of this offer from KiwiCo. Viewers of my channel get to try their first month of KiwiCo for free. So head on over to kiwico.com/backyard and try it today. Oh, you're okay, buddy. Here's the finished 3D printed bubble ring maker. You put the air in right here, and it fills up underneath right here. And as this fills up with air, eventually the buoyancy of the air will overcome the weight of the paddle and it'll just flip up. The air will escape out of this hole, hopefully making a perfect bubble ring. So I've attached an air line to an aquarium pump, and now let's put it underwater and see if this thing works. Gonna give it some air. Look at that, it worked! Wow, that really does work good. This thing really works a lot better than I expected, and it's like every 3 seconds, boop, the thing flips up, and you get a perfect bubble ring. I'm impressed with this thing's design. It looks pretty simple, but it actually works really good. If you guys want to try making one of these yourself, I've put the files down below in the description. Now it's time to make my own bubble ring machine, and I decided to ask the inventor of this device if he had any advice for me.
Hey all, David Whitus here. Glad to help. I've been working on them for about 20 years. The big holy grail was always to come up with one that would be used with captive dolphins in their tank to help keep them happy.
He gave me some good pointers, but mostly don't give up.
Basically what happened is I came up with about 12 different ways to do it wrong.
David also said that he just finished a prototype that uses no moving parts at all. Try and figure that one out. If you want to check that out, I put his website down below in the description. My bubble ring maker, on the other hand, has a lot of moving parts. In fact, I think it has too many moving parts. I think that this mechanism here was just way too complicated. Also, I think the solenoid was just too weak. It didn't really have the power to activate this thing. So I tried winding my own solenoid, but it just didn't really work that well. So I needed something with more power and that was a simpler mechanism. Well, one day I was playing a nice relaxing game of Rust. I was getting beaten to death with a rock by a naked guy on a beach when suddenly it hit me. A speaker would be perfect for this. They can handle tons of power and they're really strong. So we just need to remove the cone and only use the voice coil. I ended up using this speaker you can find on Amazon because it has an aluminum voice coil which won't fall apart if it gets wet. Then I 3D printed an adapter to hold the valve and assembled the whole thing into a waterproof housing. Now when I push a button, the voice coil pulls the valve down, and then these springs here push the valve back up against the soft silicone seal here up on top to close everything. For consistency, I made this trigger mechanism that allows me to vary the amount of time the valve gets pulled down for. Anywhere from 30 milliseconds right here, all the way up to 200 milliseconds. I hope this one works. After all the failures, I hope I don't have to build any more of these things because I'm running out of PVC. We got the one hose for air, the one hose for triggering it. All right, now for the moment of truth. 3, 2, 1. Bubble rings! Wow, look at that. It finally works, Sandra. I'm gonna turn up the pressure and then see what happens. I noticed that the bubble ring will look different depending on how fast the valve opens. So right now I have the valve as fast as it can go and it makes a really small bubble ring. Check it out. It takes forever to get to the surface and it's pencil thin. I think that's pretty satisfying. I like those. But Sandra, on the other hand, she likes the powerful ones that jump right out of the water. So in order to get exploding bubbles, you're gonna need an exploding gas mixture. A flame like this means that there's more fuel than oxygen. So if we turn up the oxygen, we're gonna get a nice blue flame like this. And this is a perfect flame to make an exploding bubble ring.
Jesus.
So I'd say that that's an explosive gas mixture. So to make a spark underwater, instead of using this little stick at 120 volts, we're gonna need a much bigger stick at 40,000 volts. So the battery powers this high voltage transformer, which makes 40,000 volts, which charges up these capacitors and then discharges them through the spark gap. So the spark gap allows 40,000 volts to build up before it triggers, and it dumps all of the energy from the spark plug into the end of my cattle prod here. Now the real question is to see if this sparks underwater. Oh yeah. My friend Steven came over to help me with the first test.
3, 2, 1.
At first I thought we had an awesome successful test, but it turns out that there was a loose wire inside of the thing that detonated the explosive mixture. But these things are easy to build, so I could just build a new one in no time flat. Here we go, Sandra. Are you ready? Let's see if I can hit a bubble. It's harder than it looks. Whoa! It worked! That was awesome. Did you hear like the gas bottles ringing after it happened? Whoa! That's cool. It works. I can't believe this works. You think that the explosion would blow the bubble ring apart, but it still comes up to the surface and looks like a bubble ring. Now it is definitely time to get the high-speed camera and see what we can do. Whoa! Did you see that one? That one was awesome! So that one was not a perfect mixture. There must have been too much propane in that mix. Oh, that's awesome!
Oh my god, it comes in like...
A spiral.
That's cool.
Yeah! That was a good one. Did you see when I ignited it? It jumped out of the water more than normal. Cool. I love how you can see the spark, you can see it ignite, and then start pulsing. That was cool. That was a good one. Now, if we take a closer look, we can see that the fuel-rich mixture really burns a lot slower and not as powerful, but it does make a really cool smoke ring in the water. Now, the oxygen-rich mixture, on the other hand, doesn't quite burn as it does detonate underwater, and it shoots the bubble ring right out of the water. When I first started this video, I didn't think this was going to be possible at all, but after literally dozens of prototypes, I finally got something working, and it is a blast! Let's see if we can blow up this balloon. You can see the force of the explosion compress the balloon, and as we proved in Mark Rober's video, if the explosion's big enough, it can cause serious injury. These explosions might not be that big, but I'm not worried about the explosion. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Exploding bubble rings are awesome. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, see you guys next time.